Edgar versus McGregor. Now, I'm short on that fight. I don't get it. Edgar was going down to 135. Conor's talking about coming back at 170 and at lowest at 155. I mean, it was just weird. And for a timing issue, and I'm speaking for myself, for me, that was a little bit weird. For all the things that could go on with Conor, and even where Frankie was going with his career. Frankie had made the announcement and going down to 135. And it just seemed like everybody kind of had their marching orders. And then all of a sudden, these two are going to fight each other. So I'm not alone in thinking that just doesn't make a level of sense. So Dana spoke out on it, and he said, man, I'm just not seeing this. In fact, I believe we're going to do Sterling versus Edgar. I think that's Edgar's next match at 135, as he said he was going to do. We're waiting to hear from Conor, but Conor is telling us that he's ready to go, so we need an opponent. But as far as Edgar, I'm not seeing that. And I'm with him. Would I for sure watch that? Would I for sure tune in? Yeah. I got all of that stuff, but come on. There's something special coming out to a supply and demand ratio of Conor McGregor, that there's a demand for him, and we haven't had a lot of supply. There's better options. I mean, Justin Gaethje comes to mind, much better options. Cowboy Cerrone comes to mind. I don't even care about the losses, much better option. Sit on his hands and wait for the winner of Khabib and Tony. I mean, it almost seems like any direction you go with this, like George St. Pierre's talking about coming back. Led the world to believe he would only come back for a title fight against Khabib. I think George may mean that, but if somebody came to him and said, hey, George, we don't have Khabib, but we got an Irishman for you, what do you think? I'm pretty sure we're going to get a yes. Which, again, would just, every door you turn to seems like a better option. But the reason I'm doing this piece and talking to you guys about this, when I say that it has some legs, this is the only call out by Conor McGregor that hasn't gone away. Conor has been sitting at home for the last number of months to the point of nausea, and anybody who fights on a main card on pay-per-view that's near his weight class gets a call out. They all gobble up, I want that fight so bad. They all gobble it up, give him everything that he wants that now makes him uninterested. They don't play hard to get at all, which just makes him move on. The next week rolls around, somebody else is on TV, and now Conor's going after that guy, right? For some reason, and yeah, Frankie gobbled it up too. Oh, I love that fight. He gobbled it up too. But for some reason, didn't go away. Frankie didn't go away, and his coaches didn't go away. Conor didn't go away. Conor's coaches didn't go away. This one's been sticking around. So you can't do what I just did and try to dismiss it by saying, I see that as the worst option. Well, it doesn't work that way. If this is the option, if this is the only option, if this is the one that these two athletes are talking about, we have a potential problem here, right? If you don't want to see that fight or you want it to be another match, but the athletes are set on that one, we got a problem. We might have to get our head around this. It seems to me as though if we were playing by the rules that everybody else has to play by, which is rankings, weight classes specifically, that lead you on a path to a championship. It would seem to me if we go by that, it's Conor versus Gaethje. If we had the fun and the spectacle and you could get the George in there, yeah, great. Okay, well, listen. If the timing just doesn't work out, Conor's not back as quickly as he says he's coming back, and all of a sudden the Khabib and Tony fight happens and now Conor's free. I mean, you could see where that would go. You could see where you could just slide Conor right in there. It would be a meaningful period of time. I really think having the discussion of Conor waiting around to take on the winner of Khabib and Tony, I mean, guys, where are we looking at? Are we looking at summer of next year? When are Khabib and Tony going to fight? We need to start with that. That information isn't likely to be given to us until December. All the pay-per-views of this year, they're booked up, they're full. But next year hasn't been announced yet. We've got some teases. We've got Stipe and Cormier, that tease is out there. We have the belief that we're going to have Khabib and Tony, but we don't have dates. Are those guys going on the same night? John Jones is looking for something to do with somebody to do it with. Just by example, we've got some very exciting announcements on the way, but they do kick the can to 2020. So stay with me on this. If Conor's the odd man out and we don't even know when those two are going to fight, I'm talking about Khabib and Tony, they then need some recovery time. They then need some training time and some build-up time for the Conor fight. You're looking at summer of next year. Early, best case scenario. Then you have some religious beliefs by Khabib where he's going, whoa, I take my oars out of the water for this period of time. I mean, you start to run into some conflicts, and it just seems as though if you're looking for Conor to get back in there, I think everything points to Gaethje. That's my belief. I'd love to know what you guys say, and I don't mean to be a prude, and I don't mean to be a downer on the Frankie fight. I'm doing this on the curve. I'm grading this test on a curve, looking at the other options, looking at other things that would just be fun and exciting that people would want to see. I don't see it.
Uncle Chael, Uncle Chael, there's no bad guy like Uncle Chael. Never lost, not even a round, undefeated, undefeated.